Rodo, Carlos. First of all, I've seen a little bit of this movie and I love it already.
Thank you, man.
Let's start with you, Rodo. What was it to work with Fede to bring a new version and bring Alien back to horror the way it should be?
Mhm. Well, super fun, super fun. Finn and I have been working together for since ever, actually, since we were like 12, 13 years old, making music and making music videos and short films, and eventually the movies that you guys have seen that we made over the past already 15 years uh, since we landed in Hollywood, actually. And this is a dream come true. It's like the ultimate franchise for us. It's something that we loved all of our lives, and suddenly we were given the chance to play with these characters, with this world, with the xenomorphs, spaceships, these amazing weapons, everything that Ridley Scott and James Cameron specifically created. Is we took those two movies as a reference because we wanted this movie to be a hybrid between those two. Yeah, having the opportunity to do that is it's just flat out a privilege, and we enjoyed it so much, and we're super happy that we are now going to be able to share what we created with the world, and hopefully people are going to be as excited as we were making it.
Okay. Yeah. And Carlos, first of all, congratulations on Shogun. The
Thank
costume
you.
on that show was amazing. What was it about bringing your feel and your aesthetics for Alien Romulus in order to make sure not only there's a some continuity within the costuming, but also bring it up to date into what this film would be?
Well, I mean, I think for me, it was, I worked already 4 times with Fede, so it was really about, following up with his aesthetic. I know what he likes, what he doesn't like. I knew that based on the photography, this was going to be, Fede's own vision and specific vision. So usually, I don't really like to take references from other movies. I like to focus on my leader, the one that is really driving us to the shore. And so for me, that was really the intention, to just support him, understand where he's coming from. Of course, there was a factor that was very realistic in the first movie and the third one, right? So I needed to incorporate that, and that was, translated into finding the right fabrics that broke down properly and aged properly, and everything was done in a way as if we were designing and directing this movie in the 80s. So our concept of sci-fi now is very different from what it was then, and that's the reason a lot of the characters are actually wearing sneakers, because one of Fede's favorite movies is actually Back to the Future. So we incorporated in, as we're designing the costumes for each one of those characters, certain elements that he absolutely loves.
Awesome. I mean that I noticed all those little nuances in the 15 minutes that I saw when we were at CinemaCon, and I was just like, you just get that feel, those feels from back in the 80s where you're watching a great horror movie, you see it feels like home, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Uh, Rodo, I want to ask you, I don't have much time left, but recently we were at Midsummer Scream, a Latino panel with a bunch of horror creators. And what is it to you that brings Latinos into horror? Because there's so many great directors, great writers, and there's something about it that we just seem to just master the horror genre. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's actually a great question. I don't know if I don't know if I have an answer for that, but I could say that if you think about the environment that we grew up in, in Uruguay, where Fede and I are originally from, we grew up during a dictatorship,
Mhm.
and that was scary. I mean, I was too young to remember, but my parents were suffering that very much, and that as a kid, it transfers into your home and into you, because you experience the world as a kid the way that your parents experience the world, right? And back in those days, people don't know, but you could get arrested for having a beard like this, right?
Yeah.
So maybe and that was happening all around South America
Mhm.
back in those days. So maybe that's got something to do with that. And then after the dictatorship was over, then you had to manage to get a job. It was really hard, manage to make ends meet, really hard, so we as the society had been struggling for a long time, I don't like the term third world, but it's been tough, tough world, let's say tough world. And maybe that it gives you some sort of knack for horror, I don't know, for coming up with stories about fucked up things happening to people. Could be, I don't know, maybe.
Exactly, but that's my time. Thank you both for stopping with us. Really appreciate it.